Hey everybody, and welcome to Fireside Fridays. We're back with another Fireside Friday, and we're going to talk all things tech, APIs, so partners, integrations, APIs, sticky customers, that kind of thing. And we're very lucky today to have Paul Kubilius with us this Friday. Paul, how's it going?
That was great. Going great. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. All right.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday. So Paul and I were having a quick conversation just before we started the broadcast. Because sometimes when people go live on these type of things or podcasts, they can be a little bit nervous. But Paul, you actually love public speaking, right?
I do, yeah.
So do you? What's your story? We spoke with Svetlana a while back, and she was into Toastmasters. But what's your interest or your background in public speaking?
It's just like it's a thrill, right? A lot of people find it nervous to go in front of a camera, in front of a big audience, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to coming out of comfort zones, I love being outside of it. You know, they say when you go outside of the comfort zone, it's the growth zone. So being out there, putting yourself out there has been quite something that I find really interesting and thrilling.
Yeah.
So I've done a bunch of public speaking. So like it started off when I was in secondary school. There was the specific competition with one of the companies that sort of got a couple of students, a group from each school in the inner city, and they just taught them about some tech, and they taught us public presentation skills.
Yeah.
So like how do you present, how do you make a slideshow? And from that point on, I kind of got like, oh, this is really interesting. I love doing this. So when I got into college and we had to do like the communications classes and stuff, and we had to make slideshows, presentations.
Yeah.
I was like all over it. I was like one of the best in class. I got a lot of praise from my lectures on it, so I love it. I know it's great.
So funny because it's a big part of life within a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, when you're in type of organization that Verizon Connect is or that Verizon is, you will do stakeholdering, you will do planning, you will do project work, you do lots of different types of things. But getting up, those clan. So you're in today for a clan meeting,
Yes.
right? And getting up in front of the whole crew and talking to your projects or your work,
Speaking, giving updates, and all of that. Yeah.
yeah.
Got to put your points precisely and concisely and all that.
So,
Cool.
so what I'm hearing here is that what you studied or learned in primary school actually mattered in the real world.
Well, it wasn't specifically in school. It was a bit of an extracurricular activity. Yeah.
I'm joking. No,
So I absolutely encourage you to do for everyone to do extracurricular activities, right? So you have your school, but you go out, go into a club, you know, get out there, try to do something else. Yeah, that's what got me into tech in the first place as well. There was a digital, there was a place in where the digital hub is by the Guinnesses.
Yeah.
There was a program called Future Creators.
Okay.
Like, about in 2014. That's what I joined up. It was outside of school, and that's where they taught kids, you know, basic programming or filmmaking.
Yeah.
And that's where I kind of fell in love with all the tech stuff. I was like, honey, I want to do this for a job. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it? What age were you when you kind of identified that? Roughly what age was that?
So I always loved computers. So whenever I had a PC at home, I was like, oh my God, this is like, I love going on Paint, you know, Microsoft Paint back in the day. I was like, oh, you can create something on a screen and stuff. You can play video games on it.
Yeah.
And then you can mod the games. You can hack and change the code in the game.
Yeah.
And it changes. They can give yourself infinite money in the game. Like, that's really cool, right? You get to control something. You get to create something new. And it's like logic based. So whatever idea you have, you can break it down into steps. And you make a computer do exactly what you want it to do. So there's a bit of aspect of control in that as well, which I enjoy personally.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to go totally and utterly off the radar here because you're talking about something I find really interesting. And I think there's a lot of conversations out there in the tech world today about things like AI.
I'm all into that.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So you're talking about that logic and that element of control and the technology doing what you need it to do or what you want to do. So the outcome being the thing you desire or program or set or whatever. So the chatter out there at the moment is AI is going to kill a lot of different types of jobs and professions, and the world's going to go upside down. And of course, if you're an Elon Musk fan, then you know the whole world will be run by robots at some stage. I don't think that's the case. And I don't think it's going to kill a load of jobs either.
Same.
What do you see in the future?
In the future, yeah, especially with all the ChatGPT stuff that came out, like I'm really excited about it. I think it's like technology is very revolutionary, right? It's the same scale as the internet when it was invented, or released to the public for the consumers to use. Like the way that changed the world to such a degree, AI on ChatGPT is going to change it to a similar degree. So, in terms of jobs, I think there is some validation, or it's valid to be a bit concerned about jobs being replaced. But for software engineers, I think we will not be replaced completely, right? I know ChatGPT can write code for you and do all of that and fix your bugs and actually generate entire new websites just from like a picture design, right?
Yeah.
But I think AI is not gonna replace us, but it might create new jobs. For example, maybe a prompt engineer.
Prompt engineer. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go, folks. It's not getting rid of jobs; it's creating jobs. Prompt engineer.
It's gonna accelerate our production as well. So like it's gonna automate all the mundane stuff, right?
Yes.
So for like just recently, I know we actually don't have ChatGPT enabled for our Verizon, right? Because there's a worry of copy pasting code and leaking at the moment, right? Yeah. But just for personal, like when you want to make a website, right? You might have a HTML template, for example, and you want to fill it up with, or you want to change the style, and you have to put like classes in all the tags, right? It takes a lot of time. So if you just copy paste it, tell ChatGPT, just change all of these tags, choose to be this specific class, and then write the CSS for this class, and you just do it, right? So this is stuff that's easy to do.
Yeah.
So it automates all the mundane, boring stuff, and
But that's the whole idea with CSS anyway, right? It's going to cascade right the way across your site and keep some certain things, colors, fonts, whatever, uniform to a degree, right?
So you get to focus on the interesting part of the programming,
and
get rid of the boring part, and you can accelerate your production, right? You can be more productive and make things faster.
So if you're a front-end engineer, and this has been your passion and your experience up to date, you shouldn't necessarily be afraid of this. You should see it as a tool, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then I will go a step further, and slightly to the sideways, and I'm kind of thinking about engineering organizations. We're in Verizon Connect, right? But engineering organizations in general, and maybe they should be looking at this as a tool right now, not a fad or a trend or a fun thing, but this could be a tool.
Yeah, we should integrate it into our work.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Right, ChatGPT, we did it by accident, but it's a hot topic right now anyway. But going back to the AI piece, you're working in an organization, in the engineering organization within a multinational business that builds artificial intelligence-based products. That's kind of cool.
It's very cool.
How cool?
Extremely cool, right? Especially if you get to work on the video side of things, where you use AI to like monitor 3D space in front of the trucks and stuff. Like you get to work with all that stuff. I mean, it's interesting, right? AI, I'm passionate about it. It does stuff for you, makes life easier, and safer.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what do you do within the Verizon Connect engineering world? What's your gig? What do you do?
So I specifically work on developing the API integrations with the. So we have these cameras and stuff on the trucks, right? So they monitor and they send GPS points and a lot of information about the truck and the location. So, but that data is not being consumed by customers on their own, right? So they have to go through our app. But we're opening this up and we're creating an API to integrate with the customer. So if the customers want to consume those data directly, they can use our API to use that.
So I'm going to guess, right? So I think I mentioned on the LinkedIn flyer that we were going to talk about APIs and stickiness. I think the idea is that you're stopping the customer you're enabling them not to have to leave the ecosystem, right? So that ultimately creates what you might call a sticky customer, somebody who stays within the ecosystem. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let me do something real quick here. I just want to broadcast it. Now, this is an advertisement, it's a video, but it just gives a little bit of an insight into what the video product looks like on the outside world. Ultimately, what the most recent dashcam, the AI dashcam, you're talking about having a supercomputer inside the actual video unit. So it's really exciting. So what I think might be valuable is if we take a quick look at the AI dashcam. Let me see if I can find it here, and we'll jump back on to talk about it afterwards.
Here it is, the new AI dashcam from Verizon Connect. It's smarter, sleeker, and it's got 2 cameras, one for your drivers and one for the road. So you and your team can stay connected like never before. Now you can see what your driver sees and see your drivers. The camera's enhanced AI can help your team stay alert to danger outside the vehicle, like
lane departure.
And it lets you see things like harsh cornering, speeding, rolling stops, and tailgating. And whether it's a cargo van or a truck, the camera also detects danger inside the vehicle at the same time, including drowsiness, cell phone use, and other distracted driving, all in real time.
Pedestrian ahead.
And you can always stay connected from the office or on the go to provide your team with crucial feedback and reward good driving. The AI dash cam from Verizon Connect. Eyes on the road and behind the wheel.
I love that ad.
That was great. Yeah.
I just love it. I think it's brilliant. It's so exciting. And while we were off camera there, I just mentioned, Paul, that we spoke with Francesco Sambo a little while back, who's the chief scientist for Verizon Connect. And he gave us a mini masterclass on what AI is and on how it matters. But when you look at that, I know it's an advertisement, a cool one, but it gives you an insight into that product that you're working on out in the real world. It's got to be cool to see your babies out in the real world in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, absolutely. And to see that your work is actually having a real impact on, like, in the real world. Yeah, like you mentioned, it's very, very, very cool.
Yeah.
I think it's completely awesome.
Yeah.
Like, especially that part of the end where, there's a pedestrian that crosses the road and the AI manages to see that if the driver doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, these sort of applications that, like, safeguard people. Like, I think AI is not a threat to humanity. I think it's going to be a huge asset to us.
You're talking about something. I know everybody wants to do good things in the world, and what are the big tech taglines? Do good, do no evil. All of these kind of things. Even the medical profession they're there for a reason, right? But that's a product that can save lives and does save lives. That's cool. I love that. Okay, so you work in the partners and integrations team. We're talking about APIs and stickiness. So ultimately, you're trying to keep the customers from having to exit or at least have the ability to consume whatever it is in their way. So you're opening things up, which is pretty cool. What is your part of that? What do you work on? Obviously, you're a software engineer, but what kind of work do you do in that area?
Yeah. So at the moment, if one of the partners wants to actually integrate and use the GPS webhook, right, that we have, so they set up an endpoint that we send our data to them, right? But for now, it's a manual process, so the customers have to call us up, customer care, and saying, look, we want to set this up, and we have to do it manually. So right now, we're working on a self-service where the customer can use the UI that's on the actual reveal field application, and they can just set it up themselves. It makes the whole process completely streamlined.
Okay, right. So they're literally just sat there at their desk. They want to do this thing. They do it themselves, and they're done.
Yeah.
So there's no big cost involved with that then.
Nope.
Right. Okay, that's pretty cool. That must save an awful lot of time, their time and your time as well.
Our time, indeed.
Yeah, and time is money. That's cool. Okay, what kind of technologies are you working with? What's the stack look like?
Yeah. So
there's going to be a bundle of engineers. There'll be people from internship, graduate level, engineering level, all the way up into leadership. They'll be curious about the tech stack and what it looks like.
Yeah, so I can talk about this definitely because I'm a full stack engineer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so on the front end of things, I work with Angular.
Yeah.
Everything is Angular, so that's pretty cool. It's one of these technologies that's actually used a lot in the industry.
Yeah.
So I feel like all my skills are very relevant anywhere else. For the backend stuff, we use C#, which is really cool. It's a very intuitive language for me.
Yeah.
It has a lot of benefits. That it's quite fast. It has it frees up its own memory. It has its own trash collection, they call it.
Yeah.
So I love using C# and for the infrastructure stuff, we use AWS and everything. We have Octopus for deployment, Bamboo for our builds. So all of these technologies are just industry standard, and it's really cool to use something like this and get to increase my skill level and technical skills.
So I can hear the passion in your voice when you're So you love what you do. You love the products you're working on. You love the impact they have out in the world, but you love the tech in a big way as well. Now that all sounds lovely, but you make my team's job really hard because you're, just to summarize, you're a full stack software engineer, C# and related tech at the back end, Angular at the front end, AWS. So we're out in the cloud. We're virtually 100% out in the cloud now. I say that kind of flippantly. I mean, the hardware aspect to what we do. We're not purely SaaS, right? But that tech stack isn't necessarily the easiest tech stack in the world to find in Dublin City at the moment. So if I want to go and look for a full stack developer with those things. So here's a question for you. How did you end up being the guy with full stack C#.net engineering experience and Angular.
Yeah, I got built up from here, ground up. So when I joined
Okay.
this company, I was a grad.
Yeah.
So this one of the things that actually attracted me to join this company in the first place. So at college, we have a recruiter contacted the lecturer for our class who does
Yep.
the work placement stuff and organizes internships, and she sends out like forwards or emails to all the students about different job applications in fourth year. And as soon as I saw the Horizon ad for it, right, the full stack engineer, you get to use Angular, C#, and they build you from the ground up. So there wasn't any necessary skills there was necessary skills, but you just had to know object-oriented principles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't a very high bar requirement to join in. It's just a graduate. I saw it, I was like, this is exactly what I want. They're going to build me from the ground up. They're going to actually provide all the skills for me. They're going to teach me.
Yeah.
I joined instantly.
Yeah.
I applied instantly. And
Yeah. No, it was really quick process. Yeah. So here's the thing. When we're hiring interns and grads, you're looking at a number of different things, but one of the big things that you have to consider, and it's not a tangible, is potential. And that's hard to do. So you have to know that this person has to be a two-way thing, right? So you got to end up working on cool stuff, and we need you to be cool, and really good at what you do. So that can be hard to identify, or tricky, or challenging. There's real big opportunity there to find special people out in the world, and it can be difficult to do that. So you have to be able to see beyond, I have 5 years, I have 10 years of experience in C#.NET, full stack Angular, and some of the things that we look at as indicators that maybe this person could be really great at what they're going to be doing in the future is you might look at a portfolio of work, you might look at personal projects, you might look at other internship experience, you can look at all of those things. But you've got loads, ever since you were a young man, you've got, going back to primary school, I guess, you've got bundles of different things that you were involved in. You were either volunteering, participating. I think you were mentoring in the RDS at one of the events.
I was a judge at Coolest Projects.
Yeah, tell me about Coolest Projects. It sounds cool. It's in the name.
It's very cool. So Coolest Projects is an annual competition for kids to create some sort of coding project that they get to display in RDS. Yeah. Right. So on Workday, there was a company that I interned for. They actually are a sponsor for Coolest Projects.
Yes.
So they asked one of the interns, who wants to be a judge and take a day off and judge the kids and their projects? I was like, absolutely. That sounds like a great idea. Yeah. I was completely down for it. So I got to be a judge, and it was some really cool projects. I think the winning project in my year was, there was this kid who made an Arduino robot. It was a form of a bee, right?
Okay.
And he studied the way bees dance, right? So when a bee wants to tell the hive the location of a specific flower patch, right? He needs to tell them the exact coordinates, how to get there, because the bees have to be very conservative with the amount of energy they spend.
Yes. Yeah.
So what if you could make a bee, or like an artificial bee, that would make specific dance for the hive, and it would tell the hive to go on a new flower patch that hasn't been discovered yet, right?
Yeah.
So if you're, for example, so this is really great for just environment, right? So bees are pollinators, and they're very the key part of ecology to prevent us from total.
You heard what we got up to recently with the bee bombing, did you?
No, what happened?
I'll tell you in a minute. Go on. Well, we'll come back to that.
Yeah. So I saw this idea. It was like, if this gets implemented in the real world, right, and if you could actually develop this further and make it more advanced, right? So this specific idea that you could just take a bee, tell the hive where to go, and you can just pollinate, and you can control the pollination of the hive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really cool, right?
It's insane. Consider, I mean, so we're a little bit passionate about bees and pollinators and on the TA team, but the bee population in Ireland has been in decline for quite some time. So that's exciting, and they achieved this, did they?
Yeah, they achieved this. So it was a rudimentary dance, right? So the idea was there. So so if this gets picked up, and if the kid can patent this idea and sell it to someone, you could probably make a lot of money and could help the environment.
So you're talking about the equivalent of a device that can create maps for bees.
Yes.
That's crazy.
How do you even come up with that?
How do you come up with that? It's phenomenal. Verizon's involved in an awful lot of new business incubation. They're involved in entrepreneur sponsorship. We were recently at the Young Entrepreneur Challenge. There was a phenomenal person who won. They had a seaweed related project there are some very entrepreneurial, creative people out there in the world. But to come up with something like that, where you're going to create an artificial bee dance to map out areas for pollinators is phenomenal. We went bee bombing around the industrial estate, so anybody who keeps an eye on my LinkedIn or the team's LinkedIn will have seen it. So we were bombing. There's a phenomenal company, the Bee Bomb Company, and we got wild Irish plants. Brian on the TA team got a bundle of bee bombs. So we went around the Sandyford area, dropping these bombs that were. It's like that old thing of the sand soil mix with the seeds inside, and the idea is that. The flowers, the plants will grow short term, medium term, and then longer term. So it could be 2 years when some of the plants come up. But anything that improves the pollinator situation is awesome. And tech involved in that, super cool. Being in a company that is, proactive about going out there and doing that is awesome. Well, congratulations. It's some career, and I can't wait to see where you go next. I have two. We're just about at time, but I have two questions I always ask people. So question number one, what is the coolest thing about working in your position?
At the moment, I absolutely love the hybrid work system that we have here.
Yeah.
So we can either work in office or at home.
Yes.
I love working from home, right?
Yeah.
This is really cool. And but then we still come into the office some days.
Like today?
Like today, yes. So I'm getting to meet your teammates. I think is quite important. So, but we're not being pushed to come into office all the time. So I absolutely would love working from home. It's such a huge advantage. I get to wake up at 10, so I'll get a lot of sleep.
Don't tell anyone that. He works late.
My manager doesn't see this. Yeah, no, you get to wake up at 10, like literally you open your eyes and you're on your laptop at the same time.
Yeah, you've saved yourself an hour and a half by way of commute.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. That was one of the earliest things when COVID kicked in that we know. I suppose retrospectively we noticed it, but they measured the fact that people didn't have commute times and became far more productive as a result. There was a massive spike. Now there were some trade-offs around the in-person thing. I think this is awesome. This is one of those moments that matter, where we can have this kind of conversation and push out a good message to the world and let people who might be interested in joining us know what the culture is like and what life is like inside. Awesome. Okay. Question number 2. Do you have any suggestions? Could be on the partners and integrations team, could be video, could be whoever. We have cross-functional teams in here, so it could be some of your colleagues across the wider business. Do you have any suggestions on who we should go after next for a conversation?
That's a good question. I would think Lav Renty.
Yeah.
No, he's a phenomenal engineer, right? He's been working here for a long time, and he knows the system inside out.
Yes.
And he was one of my mentors, so he was my senior in my team, and I got to learn so much from him.
Yeah.
So I think it would be very interesting to talk to him, right? He has a lot of experience as well, like me.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Okay, Lav, we're coming for you. Watch out. You've been, and we spoke about this earlier as well.
I'm sorry, Lav.
I'm sorry. Lav, you've been voluntold. We'll see you soon. All right, Paul, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. It's great to meet you on site in person. I know you guys were busy with your clan meeting today, so thank you so much. Food markets are open, so we're going to bounce now and get some lunch. What I will do is, as always, I'm going to leave with our Credo video. This is our 2023 Credo video. It tells you a little bit about how in Verizon, how we show up, what matters to us, how we see the world. And we will see you again soon.
This is our Verizon Credo. It's inspired our culture for almost 20 years. Think of it as a note to self, our declaration of values, a guide for our day-to-day.
Everything we do, we build on a strong network,
systems, and process foundation.
We know our products
and can explain them to customers.
We make it easy for customers to do business with us.
By listening,
anticipating,
and responding.
Integrity is at the core
of who we are.
We know teamwork enables us to serve our customers better and faster.
We run to a crisis, not away.
We deliver superior customer experiences through our products and our actions.
This is our credo.
It keeps us grounded,
aligned,
doing the right things.
It's about who we are,
how we work, and most of all, who we work for.
We focus outward.
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 Outward. We focus outward.
on the customer.